Hi, I'm Jen with the Phoenix Theater Company, and I'm here with Larry. Larry, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Larry Rabe, and I'm directing Jersey Boys. Very happy to be coming back to Phoenix Theater Company.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you just jump on in and tell us about Jersey Boys, the storyline?
Oh, sure. Jersey Boys is the best jukebox musical there has ever been. It was conceived by one of the Four Seasons, Bob Gaudio. He came up with the idea. He and Frankie talked about it, and they decided, unlike Mamma Mia, where they take their songs and put them into a show with a fabricated storyline, they actually thought that their real life story of how they became a group and where all the guys came from was compelling enough to make a musical. And truly it is. So it follows the four guys from the 1950s. Three of them met in the same neighborhood. They were thugs in and out of jail. But they formed a trio called the Variety Tones, and they played a lot of clubs and things, got around, and then eventually they met Bob Gaudio. He came on, and that's where the Four Seasons sound really came from, and that's when they skyrocketed. So it follows the formation of the group, their interpersonal dynamics, and eventually how they become superstars, how it all falls apart, and then how they get reunited at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Can you describe the set and the timeline that we're rushing through?
Yeah, absolutely. The very first scene in the play is the year 2000. There was an Algerian French rapper that took What a Night and sang it in French, and it was number one on the French pop charts all through that summer. So that's where we start. And then the three guys that were originally in the group break through in the 1950s. So you get the juxtaposition of these two sounds. And from that point, we go forward from the mid 1950s up until 1990, which is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Very cool. So lots of set movement, props, and costumes. Can you talk a little bit about the costumes and that sort of world?
Yeah, sure. And also the set you had asked about a moment ago is great.
Mhm.
Robert Kovach has designed it. The inspiration for it is the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, which is what connects New Jersey to Staten Island. But it allows the piece to move very filmically. It's great. It covers a lot of material, a lot of places, a lot of songs. And then the costuming is such a great treat because, you go from that kind of conservative 1950s look into those kind of skin tight suits in the 1960s, as society is loosening up and getting sexier. And then we move into the 70s. So you get a whole range of looks. It's really fun.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. What kind of collaboration happens between you and the set designers and the costume designers and the lighting to get the feel of the show?
Uh, well, obviously, we all come to it in meetings after we've done our research and we've worked on it. The great thing about this Jersey Boys, I directed the one in 2019 at Phoenix Theater Company. It was the first time I had a chance to direct it. And it was one of the very first regional productions because the national tour was still out. It had only recently closed on Broadway. But we wanted to do our own work, put our own stamp on the show. The way the show is constructed means that you have to take some of the ideas that they naturally came to on Broadway, that Des Mackinoff did so geniusly. But it allowed us to have a conversation about how do you, like scenically, how do you have a place that is the interior of a lot of places, but also has this character of gritty industrial New Jersey, always kind of as an albatross around the neck. And I thought Robert really beautifully captured that. And then in conversations then with the lighting designer and the costumer, we were able to move from exterior on a street corner inside somebody's car, but then into all these recording studios and clubs and people's homes and things. And it's just a really great, when you throw the idea out, we all go back and forth and layer on each other, and then we come up with the beautiful product that you're going to see. True collaboration.
Very cool. So, how are you approaching this one as differently than the 2019 version? Like, are you coming to it in a different place, personally, professionally?
Yeah. Yes and yes. And I've had a chance to go back and look at what I did in 2019. Um, and very happy with it, but I've directed it a second time. I directed it back east. And that was interesting to do it first for a Phoenix crowd, which is a really great, smart, sophisticated crowd, but then to do it for a Long Island crowd, which was a whole mix of really sophisticated people and really blue collar people. And so having that knowledge, now I come back at it, I think this one is going to feel even more authentically Jersey. And it's nice to be able to interlay that into it. I've learned from all of the different actors that I've worked with and choreographers on the show, and yeah, so I'm excited to freshen it up, but also I feel really good about the product that Phoenix Theater had in 2019, and I think people are going to like this one even better.
What excites you about the show specifically?
Oh, the music. It is it's the most joyous technical process I've ever been to when we get into our long 12-hour tech rehearsals where we're, painstakingly going through all of the lighting, all of the cues, all of the everything. You just look around the room and everybody's happy because every last song in the show is great. And it also, the level of talent that you have to hire to be able to pull this show off is really, really high. So it just makes it just a great experience.
What are some adjectives that you'd use to describe your show?
Um, it's joyous, it's fast paced, it's funny, it's clever, it's heartbreaking. Um, it's it's the best music catalog you could ask for in a show.
What are some strong emotions throughout the show?
Um, yeah, the guys were really, you know, they were tough guys. They like I said, they were in and out of jail. They robbed cars and robbed people, and um, it's a tough beginning, and then to see how you can take the boys out of the neighborhood, but you can never take the neighborhood out of the boys. And so as they grow and get more successful, they take all of that baggage of having had a rough childhood and adolescence into their interpersonal relationships. I think the exciting thing about that dramaturgically is that you get to see these really flawed characters um, excel, and everybody loves an underdog, and we root for them. And I think there's a really great connection for anybody who's ever had a dream about trying to get away from the things that were pulling them down. This is the classic Cinderella story. And eventually it can only last for so long, and the old emotions come back. But it's a great journey.
What do you hope the audience takes away from the show?
I hope the audience, first of all, they had more hits than anybody can ever remember. And even some of their lesser known songs that are in the show, they're all just at the highest quality. I hope the audience feels like they get to take a journey through, the 50s, 60s, 70s. Um, they get to remember where they were when these songs were happening. That they take away how different American society has changed from decade to decade to decade. But mostly, I really hope that everybody walks away just huge fans of the Four Seasons and what they did for American music.
Thank you so much for that. We have some fun flash questions so that people can get to know you. So,
Okay.
you ready? It's the first thing
Yep.
that pops into your head.
Okay. Good luck.
Choose a carnival game that you play for forever.
Skee ball. I had to
Nice.
I had to do it. I had to throw the ball.
That was perfect. If you could have dinner with one character from your show, who would it be?
Oh, it'd be Bob Gaudio.
I'm gonna ask you to elaborate on that because I thought it was gonna be somebody else.
Yeah, no, it would be Bob because Bob really was the brains behind it all.
Mhm.
And I want to know what it was like to see how ragtag the other three guys were and figure out how to navigate all of their bickering, the natural street fighters that they are, and how I think he's the one that kept them together as a group. He knew that the sound was right, the time was right. He was it was a reaction to the British invasion musically, and American music was really just in the gutter at that point. Um, and he pulled this amazing American sound just out of the air, and with these guys crafted this huge American movement in music that got us back on the charts.
Thanks. That was very interesting. Sorry, I went back to a
Uh,
long form question.
it's good. No,
Okay, back to
I liked
Flash.
it. Yep, Flash.
If you could transport any person to see your show, who would it be?
It would be my parents.
Share a behind the scenes habit or superstition you have.
Ooh, well, I have a piece of clothing that I wear to every opening, and I think it's like some people have their lucky T-shirt, and so that's my ritual. I know, like I've gotten through tech, and now we're into audiences. We're ready to open, so that's the final little thing.
That's awesome. What's the last song you listened to on your phone?
Oh, it was Hard Candy, Counting Crows.
What book would you bring with you if you were stranded on an island?
Grapes of Wrath.
Tell us a weird fact you happen to know for no reason.
Um, oh, that's tough. Uh, 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 well, I a weird fact about myself that I know only about one other person is I can actually take my tongue and stick it back behind my uvula in my throat, and I know only one other person on this planet that can do it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't very scientific. That's not going to win me immense surprise, but that's what
That is
came to
interesting, and
mind.
it's a weird fact. So there you go. Who
Yes.
was your favorite fairy tale character?
Mm, Maleficent.
Mm-hmm.
She's the most amazing villainess.
What is your favorite song from the show?
My favorite song is "Cry for Me." It's the
If your
first time
life
we
were
hear them come together on that sound. Sorry, I'm still
Oh,
talking.
no, no, it's great. So if your life this is the last one. If your
Okay.
life were a musical, what would it be called?
Uh, oh gosh, it would be called "Happy and in Love."
No. Yes, sweet. Well,
31
thank you so
years.
much for chatting with us and answering some questions. And
Thank you.
yeah, come see the show. Are there any parting words you want to tell people to encourage them to come see the show?
It's like it's going to be the party that's happening in Phoenix, and miss it at your own peril. I would say see it early because you're probably going to want to come back and bring family members or friends. It's just that kind of show. It's going to be a great time.
Awesome. And I think we have a trailer that we can show from the last time.
Excellent.